Oh, it was extremely important. Look, every game's important. We go out and try to win and compete every time we play. So but there's no doubt that that one was one we needed. Looking at the weekend, Ferris State's still undefeated and top 10 in the country. And actually, there were parts of our game that I think were really on against both teams, particularly on the offensive side. But there were some areas that put some stress on us, and so it wasn't enough to beat Ferris. Although I think had those parts been there, it would have been a match for sure. And then the next day, I just think we were the better team, and our offense kind of carried the day. Yeah, a couple of things. One, we utilized the two libero rule change this weekend, which is the first time we did that this year. You're allowed to designate two liberos. They kind of just count as one person, and so they can kind of come in and out pretty informally. We kind of played with that a little bit to see if we can't get some more just out of the libero position in general and get the two of them kind of sharing their talents for us at once. And then we took Megan out of the back row this weekend and put in Brooke full time back row for her, and her defense was phenomenal. And so the serve receive side though, with some of those changes, was affected, I think, a little bit. And so we got to get back to being comfortable in serve receive, regardless of what our formation looks like back there. But I think it helped on the defensive side more or less. And with Avery, she's a legitimate setter option on so many teams. We're blessed to have Tess as our setter, and Avery really understands that. They battle every day in practice. But her defense and her serving are something that we feel like could help us right away with Tess setting at the same time. So that was that change there. It's just physical. She hit 375 for the weekend. She, for whatever reason, our set distribution on Friday night wasn't as good as it was Saturday, and the passing was about the same. So, and that means just like where Tess is distributing the ball, into who. And so you want to see that really spread out nicely, and at least in a certain way. It keeps teams guessing, and it kind of utilizes what we feel are our strengths, and that is offense kind of at every pin or every position, as opposed to, some teams, or even ours in the past, where a lot of our offense came maybe in a couple spots. In the second day, we did a much better job of that, and you kind of saw Rachel pop off. And then, so Megan is going to carry a big load offensively by virtue of her position, but in the back row, her defense was starting to kind of, crack a little bit with her. It's just a lot of stuff. So we kind of mutually agreed that might be something that would benefit her. We don't want to see any effect of the front row with that. So, it didn't really change anything offensively, because there's not much out of the back row she's getting offensively, maybe a little bit here or there. It kind of preserved her time on the court for the front row where we need her most. Everything. She's just awesome. She's hitting like just under 400 on the right side right now, just under 3 kills a set. This is her first time ever really playing the position. Her attitude is phenomenal. She is so fun to coach. After Friday, which was an objectively poor game for her, just the way she was like, I can't wait for tomorrow, was so natural and like healthy. It wasn't bummer. It wasn't like beating herself up. It was just like she knew it could have been better, and she was really excited to get it back at it the next day, which is just a great attitude. I mean, if you watch her play, you watch her on the sideline, watch her during warm-up, it kind of tells you everything you need to know. And then she's just explosive. You watch her, and sometimes in practice, every practice, she makes a play that I don't think anyone else in our gym can make, and that's always fun to have on your team. Amelia's touch on the ball and foot speed, ability to kind of close and just to be light on her feet and serve receive typically are really strong for her. If you watch her just take a ball, whether it's in serve receive or digging, she's got really nice touch. We're looking for her to play with max confidence. Elena plays with max confidence all the time. Like her attitude and her intangibles are all just kind of present always. And her defensive efforts, are pretty strong. We want to see her play with a little bit more restraint and focus. So there's like a combination. If we could fuse them, we'd have a player that probably wouldn't still be here. She might be off somewhere big time. But we're happy with both of them as players and people. We just are trying to get some consistency and the most out of each of them in that position. I think it's very similar to the team last year. Their preseason schedule last year was as difficult as anyone's, and so I don't think they got a lot of freebies at all. And at the beginning, that there's a freebies, but they went down into a tournament here early in the year and did well. I think that their right side is very, very good. They have an outside who takes a bunch of swings, who does good things. They've always played really scrappy defense. They're going to make you earn it, and they play fast when they can, and they want to be fast to some of their middles. So I think Coach Zach has, I've said this since he got there, he's instilled something in that team and that program that has really taken to, and they go out and battle every day. So we're gonna have our hands full with them, and we know that we have to be ready to play our game, and when we do, I think we can beat and compete with anyone we play. Discipline, and just competing for the whole time, not taking a break. And I think we're there, kind of putting everything together for the sustained period of time during the match is huge here, and just building on one thing from the next. I think we're a really good team that has a lot of good pieces. We're excited to play 2 more home games here this weekend. Oh yeah, I wish I was better at it. Yeah, no, I love it. I think it's great. And we have really good hardware here and support to make the challenge system, I think, work smoothly here. It's actually a really interesting way to also kind of connect with your team on the court, because there's a response usually, and also if you notice, if there's a play that's close otherwise, and let's say one of our players touched it, they'll admit it right away. So it almost expedites the problem. There's also corrections happening informally throughout the whole thing, because now you have players being, oh, no, I touched that one, or no, I didn't touch that one. It's nice, and the officials have been great about it, and I think it's putting us where we need to be, just league-wise and nationally. Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, anytime we get to play at home in front of the pep band and our support that's always just great. We want that. Teams coming up here to play us is always an advantage. Even though the one match is at Northern next week, we're still in our beds, we're still in the UP, and we've kind of taken the mentality of hey, we get excited to go play that game there because it's going to be exciting, and we're comfortable there. Even though people try to make us uncomfortable there, we try to stay pretty comfortable there. Being home also means not traveling so many thousand miles or whatever miles it is on the road. So we take advantage of that and work hard in our home gym. And I think for this team too, we want to practice and maintain this mentality of confidence in front of our home crowd. It's sometimes easier to be away in that regard. And I think for this team, we want to get it right so much that we got to stop putting pressure on ourselves sometimes when we're playing at home. We have a great crowd, and we're really grateful for all that support.